I've been using AI to create 3 to 4 hour long videos in 15 minutes. I'm going to show you how to do the same. Just like this YouTube channel has made $3,400 in June alone. This is June of 2025. So you can see, you're making really good money daily. And this channel made just shy of $3,500 by doing this on autopilot. Pretty much, obviously there's going to be some small human input, but in about 15 minutes, you'll get as long of a video as you want. It doesn't just have to be 3 to 4 hours. It can be 6 hours. It can be 10 hours. It's really up to you how much you want to spend and how long your videos are. And it's honestly pretty cheap considering. I'm going to show you how to do it as cheap as possible, because a lot of people find that it's either a very manual process or it's a very expensive process if you use a lot of AI tools. I'm going to show you how to make it cheaper. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to structure your SOPs for LLM, so large language models, to save days of time later on. So it's going to take maybe an hour or two of setup, but at least it's not 20 hours of setup, because I've created some tools to help save you some time. But putting in a couple hours of work up front to get everything sorted, have a good foundation, to then you just hit go and it does it. I'll show you what AI platforms to use, but also I'm going to show you how to start creating the script. So getting an outline, getting the full script, literally in seconds, right? Well, with seconds of work at least. And then also getting hours of video made in minutes. A lot of people are like, to make a 4 hour long video, that's going to take at least 2 hours of work. Even if you're optimizing your process to spend less time doing that, a lot of people are not doing it very effectively. So I'll show you how you can get a 2 hour long video if you wanted to with about 60 seconds of work. Pretty crazy. There's also going to be a way on how you can use AI to stand out from your competition, because now that I'm going to create videos on this and show people how to do this, there's going to be competitors that show up. This is why I don't show a lot of people on what my channels are and who, what their names are and what content it is. Mainly because once I create a video, people are going to start creating videos about it. So I'll show you how to find a unique angle to those videos. But also, honestly, the most important part of things is how you can essentially turn your AI story channel into something profitable, because you can have all of step 4 through 1 through 4. But if you don't have step 5 correct, you're going to fail anyways, and you're going to be wasting your time and money. So I'm going to show you how to do this. First, let's start on creating the SOP process so that your large language model, let's say it's Claude AI or ChatGPT or any AI you decide to use, knows exactly what they need to do. First, I use Poppy. Now, Poppy is a really great tool, and if you use the link down in the description, you will get some extra free credits and some discounts to it because it is an affiliate link. But I use Poppy because it's going to give me everything I need to have everything in one place. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So if I click on my chat widget here, this is where all the magic happens. I'm just going to make it bigger for now. When talking to it, you can change which model that you use. So I'll show you the step-by-step process I use, because I'm using multiple of these. I'm not going to Gemini to use the service there and then going to Claude and use the service there and going to ChatGPT using the service there. I'm doing almost all of my work from one AI platform here with all the models in it. So if I minimize this, just to give you an idea of what we're doing, the first thing is having the SOPs ready for AI in order for it to know what it needs to be doing and have all the information that it needs in order to create the accurate output that you're looking for. So what I've got is a few different tabs here. For example, how to write the scripts. So this is basically an SOP to any LLM. This could be any platform you want to use. It doesn't just have to be for Poppy, but I think Poppy is one of the best and easiest to do this with. And this is going to tell it how to write these scripts. Now, I'm actually just going to enlarge this. If you want to pause, you can pause and look at this. Then you can just take screenshots and put it into your like ChatGPT and transcribe it. But what I've done is actually created a custom GPT for you to give you the script writing SOP, to give you the channel description, to give you the format and example stories or intros to your story, give it some rules so that it knows what it needs to adhere to and what things to avoid. And then also the video formats for the scripts for Sleepy Pirate stories in this example. I'm going to run you through an entire example of what it would look like for me to create one of these videos. So how to get access to that custom GPT. It's linked in the description. If that is helpful, I'm just literally pasting the link there. You don't even have to give your email for it. Literally click on it, takes you to ChatGPT. You can use that custom GPT and I'll show you how to do it. So when you've clicked on that link in the description to access the custom GPT, here's what you do. First, you want to hit go, right? Just say go. It's going to give you some questions. It's designed to ask you for some clarification on kind of what your approach is. So for example, the channel name and topic. You want to give them the character description, so what they look like, maybe some physical attributes, character reference name. So you want to tell AI what we want to refer to them as. Let's say they have a name, or, in my example, I chose to have them be called the pirate or the sleepy pirate or something like that. It really doesn't matter what you want to call them, to be honest, but it's your preference. And then script length. So for example, I've given it the information listed as numbers based on or referring to each question. So the channel name, Sleepy Pirate Stories. He's a male pirate. He's ugly, smelly, has bad manners, but is good with words and is witty. Pirate Pete is his name. And I want three-hour scripts. You can even give a range of 3 to 4 hour scripts, or you can say 6 to 8 hour scripts, whatever you want. I hit enter, and that took me less than 30 seconds to write. Now it's going to give me all the SOP. So it took me about 4 hours of research and developing to put this GPT together, and also to get all of the information that you need to get the output that you are supposed to have. And so now all you have to do is spend less than 30 seconds to get the same result. So if that time is really valuable to you, maybe leave a like on the video. That would be really appreciated. But then once this is created, you can literally copy and paste this into your LLM. So for example, I'm going to use Poppy. And so I'm going to copy the content. I'm going to go to Poppy, and T is the hotkey on the keyboard. I'm just going to paste it in here. And literally this item here is all of this put together. So you only need to link this once into that. And now you have access to your all your SOPs for your story. Writing rules, it's got the style, writing guides, structures, all of that kind of stuff. So I'm going to delete that because I've already got all of my stuff here that I put together. And that one box was all of these put together. So what I did then is, if I click on this and click full screen, now I have all my chats on the side here. But let's just go to the top of my chat just to show you how this all started. So what I did was create a story outline, or I told it to create a story outline, and I used the GPT mini option because this is the cheaper option when it comes to using credits. You have a limit, and you can see your limit up there. So first I selected GPT 4.0 mini, told it to come up with an outline. It created an outline for the story in chapters, and you can kind of vet it, say, I want to change this, I want to change that. Really, it's up to you, but I just say, do deep research on this topic and make it historical as possible. With this prompt, I then made sure I chose Gemini 2.0 Pro because Gemini is owned by Google. They have a much better model when researching the web. And I click on search over here. So this search button is selected, and I typed this in and hit go. So this response was generated by the Gemini 2.0 Pro model. And so it gave me the research that I wanted. It's got dates, it's got numbers, it's got fatalities, everything that you need for a historical battle, or at least if you want to keep your stories historically accurate, this is the approach that you would take. Then for the script writing aspect, because we've got all of our research and because we're all still in the same chat, all of these models that we're selecting is going to have access and context to what conversation we have. So we're going to switch to Claude, and then I'll say start writing the script. So with Claude, it's writing the script. It's got the title, it's got the intro, it's got a highly optimized intro, tell people to subscribe, and it's also, let's see here, it'll get people to comment, or at least ask them to comment, and then it starts the story. So here's the story. It's literally written the first part of the story. Now, because of token limits for outputs on responses with AI, you can only get so much of it to respond at a time. So I've told it in the SOP, which it's already created because you just typed in go and gave it those 4 items, and then it gives you the SOP. That SOP states that if this is cut off, or if you don't write in sections, we continue with the next section. So for example, I will say, continue. It's going to go ahead and continue using the Claude model here, Claude 4 Sonnet. And now it's going to continue, which is really awesome. So now, let's say you go into your Google Docs and you paste this content in, you just resume by pasting this content in at the bottom of that. Now, it's going to take, it averages out to be about 7 responses because we're going for 3 to 4 hour long stories. But if you go for longer stories, you're going to have multiple outputs or follow-ups, I should say. And it's going to categorize them as chapters. So if we keep scrolling here, it's still going. It's going to start with another chapter, and we'll paste all of this into our Google Docs or wherever you want to save it, right? Once it's created the entire script. So as you can see, as it's writing, it's now creating chapter 3. So we're kind of segmenting the script. And if it gets cut off, or if it stops and says, would you like for me to continue with part 2 or part 3 or part 4, it's going to write in parts. Or it just gets cut off and you tell it to resume and it keeps going with the story. Now, this is the only way to do it, at least right now, without running into character limits or token limits for responses with LLMs. But this could be solved in the future where you just type it in once and it just gives you the entire story. I know that Claude's premium feature on their actual website, claude.ai, it gets much longer responses than in any other LLM where you can use it there. So take that with a grain of salt. However, you will not have access to the SOP structure that I've created unless you paste all of that in there in projects. A whole nother topic. If you want to learn more about that, let me know in the comments below on how to use claude.ai. It's their native app. But you can see here it stops, so I'm going to click continue. And this is really taking very minimal amount to work. And while it's responding, I'm actually going and working on the thumbnail for the video. So I can go back and forth optimizing my time. Because obviously I got to wait for the response. Even though, yes, it takes longer than 15 minutes to create the video, I'm actually only spending about 15 minutes of my actual time creating the video and the thumbnail. Because in between responses, like for example now while I'm talking, it's just going, I would be spending my time on creating the thumbnail instead. So I'm going to resume this video once it's finished generating the entire script because I'm literally showing you from beginning to end on an actual project on what I'm doing here. Now, the reason why I use Claude for Sonnet, you could use 3.7. Honestly, they're both really good models, is because Claude writes as human as possible. It writes the most human content. So honestly, that's the best way to write your scripts. So now that I've pasted everything in here, and it's even included Our Pirate Will Sail Again, subscribe for more at the end, getting people to subscribe and having the story come to a close. Now the real fun part begins. What we're going to do is go to Gunkbot, which I've left a link down in the description. You can get 5 free credits per month. 1 credit equals 1 minute of content. So essentially 5 minutes worth of content per month for free just by using the link in the description. And I'm going to show you how to use this. Now, when you're in Gunkbot, it's important to know that you need to first create a project. And this project often comes by default, but sometimes you can create ones depending on what plan you have. So create a project, but then you're also going to have to create a template for your style. Let me show you what I mean. When you click add video, you have the option to add a preset. Now you can choose existing ones that may show up in your account, but you can also create one and you're basically substituting some of the style. Call it whatever you like. You can select the voice that you have available. There's many options here. A lot of them are really good. Now what you're also doing is just describing the style. So color, type of camera, you keep it super basic. Don't try and take a full response from ChatGPT and just paste a essay worth of content in here because that doesn't help. It doesn't give enough freedom for the AI to work. So once you've given it just some basic outlines, I want it to be animated and it's historical content and it's this and that. Just keep it simple. Landscape, obviously that's what we want. 15 seconds is the seconds per image, so time spent per image in the video. This is obviously, this website is currently in beta, so there's so much more features that they're going to be adding. And at some point, they're going to start to add motion. So for example, AI video instead of just images. So that's actually pretty cool. Now what you can do is create a test. So let's just use one, for example, and I'm just going to call this test, and I'm going to copy part of my script just for creating this example here. And so what we can do is paste our audio in, or our script in here. And what we can do is generate a preview. That's assuming I can, create a test for everyone. Okay, so it needs a longer title, I guess. So we'll create a preview. And it's going to take a couple minutes just to generate this preview for you so that you don't essentially paste your entire script into the project when you're ready to go, and it just uses up a bunch of credits and it's giving you the result that you weren't looking for. And so as it's producing and I'm just waiting for it to finish processing, the video details are here. So once it's ready, I can refresh this. It'll also be in my email and it's going to show me what the preview looks like. I'm not going to stick around for that. I'm just going to go straight to where we start our projects here. So once you've created your preset, what we're going to do is click add video. We're going to select our preset and then we'll just give it a title, right? Now what we can do is up to 120,000 characters, which I've never really hit before, but let me just show you what that would look like. I'll just select all of this and we'll paste it in here. So 94,000 characters is what I'm pasting in here. And you can see this is going to cost me 87 credits, which I don't have. So I'm actually just going to reduce the size of this just for the sake of the video. But generally speaking, you want to be able to have the credits for this. Now, it takes 1 credit per minute of video output. And if you want to look at the costs of your credit, what you can do is if you've got the Pro plan selected, you will have $1.14 per credit. So that means if you have a 30-minute video, which costs about 30 credits, your cost for that video is going to cost $34. For a 30-minute video, that's cheaper than if I were to hire a video editor to do this for me. So it's actually still, in perspective with everything else, a lot cheaper than what a lot of people actually think. They see the prices here and they go, man, like $285, that's a lot. But for 250 credits, it's about 250 minutes worth of content. You're going to be charged between $500 and $800 for that type of content. And this gets it done for you in a fraction of the time. So what I'm going to do is just provide this part of the story, the intro and the first part of chapter 1. Reason being is because I don't feel like wasting a bunch of credits for this video unless you really want me to. Feel free to let me know in the comments. Maybe I'll do a future one. But really the principle here is you're pasting your entire script in here. And then honestly, all you need to do is create video. And then now it says ready to go. So I'm going to hit ready to go, send it. And it's going to take, depending on how long your video is, it's going to take anywhere from a minute to a couple hours to produce. If you're doing 6-hour videos, that's going to take a little bit of time. But you can see here, it told me that it was going to cost 3 credits. So and obviously that's an estimation. So it might say 4 credits, it might say 3 credits. Ultimately, be conservative with the guessing. So generally, if it says 3 credits, I'm going to estimate that it's going to take 4 credits to create this. Now, while that's generating, it's important for you to understand that if you want to really stand out, right, it's going to be important for you to follow some of these steps here. Because, you can create this content really cheaply with AI, cheap costs. I'm going to show you the editing workflow, but really, there's going to be a really important way on how you can stand out from your competition. So I'm going to show you how to do that. First, with your script, what you're going to want to do is open ChatGPT. And you are going to tell ChatGPT that the part of the script that I paste, I need you to create a detailed description for an LLM in order to understand what that description is in order to create a video for it. So for example, if I copy, let's just say this intro, I can copy paragraphs at a time, which is what I recommend. And I only recommend doing this for the first 5 minutes worth of content for your video. So in this case, let's say it takes 5 minutes for your AI to do this portion. What I do is copy the first paragraph and I'm going to paste it in here. So once I've pasted it in there, it's going to give me a prompt that describes what I want from the story. So I've pasted the story in and it's giving me prompts for this. Now it's doing it in sections because obviously 8 seconds from VEO3 is just not enough to be, described in all of this. So I have to break it up into 8-second chunks because with this tool, labs.google.com, which I'll leave a link in the description, I use this to create AI videos in the beginning of these videos to help them stand out. So what I've got is the prompt. So I'm just going to literally copy and paste this into flow or labs.google, paste that in there, make sure I'm using the right model, which is VEO3 fast. And then I'm going to go ahead and send that. I'm going to go back to ChatGPT and copy my second prompt here. I'm going to paste that into here as well. I can have up to 5 generations at a time. So I'm literally saving myself so much time, not just creating the prompts themselves, but getting really high quality video here. Using labs.google is the cheapest way to do this. It's going to cost you about $2 per 60 seconds of video output, which is the cheapest model of any video model out there that actually gets you quality results. Now, Seedance is kind of making its way up on the leaderboard there in terms of cheapness. So you can even go to apollo.ai, which I'll leave a link in the description. And if you want to do AI video, let's just go to the canvas here. And what we can do is let's choose text to video. And then we can choose the model. Apollo is also a really great model, but there's even, let's see, Hulio or Hulo or however you say it. That's a really cheap model. And then there's also, let's see if we have it here, Seedance Pro and Lite. You know, the Pro is more expensive, but probably a more safe model. So I can even paste it in here, get my prompt. I can choose 16:9. I can choose the resolution, amount of outputs. And then I can go ahead and just hit create, and it's going to give me a similar result at a really great price. Apollo is linked down in the description. You'll get some extra free credits as well by using that link. So now if I go to ChatGPT, or excuse me, this is Labs, so Google Labs, these are the results. So this is what the video is starting with the first few shots. Wow, very good. So what you might want to tell ChatGPT is something like, make sure to specify that there's no music or vocals. So it's going to go ahead and do those prompts again, specifying things like the camera, no music, no vocals, 16:9 ratio, 8 seconds. It doesn't even have to specify 8 seconds. It knows that's going to be 8 seconds because that's literally the only amount of video length that it can create. But honestly, you don't even need to have that specific about the sound effects because you're not even going to include them unless you want a little bit more elements to the video. Because, for example, if it's a sleepy time story, you're not really going to have many sound effects in there anyways. All right, so while it's actually generated everything, but you can see some of these clips and what they'll look like. We're essentially generating a video version of our intro here. So I only pasted about 2.5 minutes worth of script into this particular example, but let's take a look and see what it looks like.
In 1715, the Caribbean waters held secrets worth more than kingdoms. 14 million pesos in Spanish silver and gold, sailing north.
Cool. So it's not going to be exact on the visuals because I was not specific when I created the preset. So make sure that you're specific with what the people are going to look like and so on. It's not accurate here because I did not create the preset properly. But when you create the preset, you've got to make sure you get it right. Be descriptive, but don't be overly, too detailed like in the SOP here with Paula or Poppy that I did. All right, so still really great output. Now, what we're going to do is download this and put it into our editing software and link it with the AI video that we've created. All right, so now that I'm in Premiere Pro, you can use CapCut, Wondershare, DaVinci Resolve, whatever video editing app you want. And I've got some layers here. Some of it's particle effects, some of it's just lens leaks and light leaks. And then I've got like a slight crackling fire sound and a slight wind sound. So this is what this looks like. Okay, so these are obviously transparent, but because it's got a black background right now, you can't see it. But if I put the image in, you can see what that looks like. So this is the image slideshow. Cool. So that's what that would look like. You can even reduce the opacity of things, which I could do here if I really wanted to. And then what I'm going to do is import the video footage. So in order, I'm going to put it in here. And let's say I want to keep the audio because, for example, we don't have any vocals. Let's just say we don't have any vocals. I know the first 2 clips did, so I'm actually going to mute those. And then you can see it's different sizes. I've got a 1920 by 1080 project file size here, so I'm just going to scale the videos up to that as well. So scale to frame size because I downloaded those in 720p. I might even increase the scale of this to hide the cinematic black bars, just like that. And then double check with the rest of it to make sure these don't have cinematic black bars, because I personally just don't like them. You can keep them if you like. You can probably tell ChatGPT to specify to exclude these cinematic black bars when it creates the prompts. And more often than not, it won't include them, but sometimes it still includes them because AI sometimes has a mind of its own, I guess. Let's just hope it doesn't take control of everything. But the reason I'm showing you in depth of how I do this is, number one, if you fully automate an AI system when it comes to YouTube, it's not going to create good content. Like, it can create some stuff, but it's just slop. It's content that people don't really care about or don't really want. And so if you're creating content for people by AI with no human input, no one's really going to want to watch it for the most part, because AI doesn't have that human touch to know what people want to watch. So you still got to do the ideation for the video and all that kind of stuff. So here's what the result looks like.
In 1715, the Caribbean waters held secrets worth more than kingdoms. 14 million pesos in Spanish silver and gold, sailing north through hurricane-haunted seas toward a destiny that would reshape the very soul of piracy. Our immortal pirate was there, watching from the shadows of Havana Harbor as the greatest treasure.
So you can see those clips maybe were backwards. Maybe I just imported them wrong. So I'm just going to switch them out. And now this hopefully will look good. I've got to also reduce the audio of the video that I imported because I don't want it to be overbearing and too loud.
Soul of piracy. Our immortal pirate was there, watching from the shadows of Havana Harbor as the greatest treasure fleet in Spanish history prepared for its final fateful voyage. This wasn't just another convoy of merchant ships. This was the lifeblood of an empire, guarded by cannons and prayers, racing against time and the devil's own weather. Watch as hurricane winds tear through rigging, as fortunes sink beneath Caribbean waves, and as our pirate witnesses the birth of the golden age of piracy from the wreckage of Spain's greatest loss. From the gilded docks of Cuba to the blood-soaked beaches of Florida, every moment of the...
And the rest is history. So, I mean, if you want to watch this, you can click on it at the end of this video on screen. I'll put it there just so you can watch it. But really, that's how I create AI videos. And I know this video took longer because I had to explain everything and I went very deep into detail. If you really found that valuable, subscribe and I'll create more content like this. Show you how to really optimize these processes using AI for faceless YouTube to generate thousands of dollars per month. If you want to actually really take this to the next level, because you can create all the content, use automated AI systems if you want to use an end-to-end workflow, which is a little bit more complex than what we're actually going into in this video, but there's lots of different trigger words I can say that get you what you really want in terms of the value. But really it comes down to, you can't expect AI to create content that is completely 100% AI that people want to watch, right? So for example, you've got to do the ideation. So come up with the story and think about it. The thumbnail and title you've got to do manually, because if AI is just going to create it, they're just going to create it based on what good numbers say. But you really need to get an emotion from your audience to click on a thumbnail. You've got to generate either curiosity, desire, or fear of missing out. One of those three emotions with your thumbnail and title. And if you can't do that, they're not going to click. Guaranteed, this is how you succeed on YouTube. So I've created a very, very comprehensive, value-packed course with all these tools, training. You'll get access to questions to ask me with this system. I'll leave a link in the description. It's the first link in the description to get access to this training, to understand really what makes a YouTube video successful, how to get the results that you're looking for, because you can do this whole process that I've just showed you in this video, but if you can't get this one thing right in terms of focusing on the real direction of your channel and video, then nothing else matters. And you'll learn that with the training I've left in the description in that first link with my YouTube Growth Accelerator. So check that out if you want to. Otherwise, the rest of this content was for free. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you want to see next in the comments below. So if you want to watch the final result of what I created today, click on the link over here. It's not going to be the full 4 hour length thing, but it's an example of what things could look like. And I'm just going to post what I generated here. So click on that video before it disappears, and hope you enjoyed.